Good morning, Madam Chair, Ranking Member, and members of the subcommittee. Thank you for having us. Again, my name is William Santana Lee. I'm the Chairman and CEO and founder of Knightscope. We're a public safety innovator. We make autonomous security robots and emergency communication devices. We're on a long-term mission to make the United States of America the safest country in the world. And as ludicrous as that might sound, for the last 12 years, we've been working the problem, and we actually have a line of sight on how to do it. And so I appreciate your time this morning. The public safety infrastructure in the United States of America is crumbling. We have a violent crime occur every 26 seconds, a property crime every 4 seconds. Security guarding companies experience up to 400% employee turnover rates, and almost every police department in this country is wildly understaffed. Crime has a $2.6 trillion negative economic impact on the U.S. every single year. It's a hidden tax that we all pay in blood, tears, and treasure. The first role of government is to protect its citizens. The local, state, and federal authorities are not equipped to actually address the issue because there's a structural flaw in how we're set up. We do a tremendously wonderful job outside of our borders. The Department of Defense has one person in charge, Secretary of Defense, nearly $1 trillion budget, and there's a very large innovation process to give a soldier in a theater of war every level of capability you might ever imagine at their fingertips. We do not do that on our own soil. The U.S. Department of Justice and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security effectively have no federal jurisdiction over 19,000 law enforcement agencies and 8,000 private security firms. There's literally no one in charge. There's no massive innovation process. And so the 2.5 million officers and guards are effectively securing our country with a technological equivalent of a number 2 pencil and a notepad, and this needs to stop. So the solution is decidedly hardware plus software plus humans. And physical AI is going to dwarf what we've been discussing thus far this morning in terms of just general AI. Physical AI in terms of being able to deter negative activity before it happens, to give an officer or guard unprecedented capabilities for them to be in multiple locations at the same time and have eyes, ears, and voice on the ground in those locations and be able to report as such. Knightscope has now been operating across the country in every single time zone for multiple winters and summers for more than 4 million hours. Fully autonomous, completely hands-off, not remote control. We've helped a law enforcement agency issue an arrest warrant for a sexual predator. We helped another law enforcement agency apprehend an armed gunman.
Where was that?
California. We've helped a domestic violence abuse case here on the East Coast, and the list goes on and on and on. This is commercially available technology.
And you said it helped issue a warrant? Or what did you
We helped a law enforcement agency issue an arrest warrant for a sexual predator. So the machine was able to capture the video needed for the agency to issue that because they have evidence to do it. So for the last 5 years, we've been trying to get the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to deploy this technology at the 172 hospitals across the country. We have finally gotten our FedRAMP moderate ATO, or authority to operate. I've been trying to convey to the Secretary that this needs to be part of the reorganization at the VA for all the law enforcement agencies, all 172 of them. And at $11 per hour, this cannot possibly be a budget issue. We need to be able to provide 10x capability for 1/10 the price, and this is one way that physical AI can generate that level of economic impact. So what you're seeing here is the world's first autonomous security robot actually patrolling federal grounds. It is, as you can see, more than 5 foot tall, 400 pounds, roams around fully autonomously, has quad strobe lights, and is able to provide that physical deterrence, just stop a criminal from doing silly stuff before.
What's its rate of speed?
This one is up to 3 miles an hour. Next year, we're going to deploy one that's over 10 miles an hour. So walking speed, so wherever a guard or officer might be patrolling, this would be a wonderful way for us to be able to remotely monitor. So this little bit, next part is going to be slightly overwhelming, and it's intentionally so. These machines generate over 90 terabytes of data a year that no human could ever possibly process. So the machines can give you 360-degree eye level view
How is
of,
that data stored and where?
on the machine or in the cloud or both.
And do you have cloud services for your robots?
Yes, AWS GovCloud for government usage and AWS Commercial for our private clients. So the machines can provide the 360-degree eye level. This is really important. So the CCTV camera staring at the top of your head is really not helpful. There's a distress button on the back of the machine. You can have a two-way human-to-human call. The machines can detect a person. The machines can detect the person. Machines can read several hundred license plates a minute. It can detect a mobile device in the area within 500 feet of the machine. It can run a thermal scan of the environment, and we're just getting started.
Does it know the owner of the mobile device or the number associated with the mobile device?
You can get the MAC
Or
address on
MAC.
older devices, the ones that aren't scrambled, and you can then treat that as a license plate.
Okay.
But if you show up at a data center with 3 mobile devices, I'm not sure you really care that it's a MAC address. It's likely a risk of industrial espionage. And the long-term ambition here is to put 1 million machines in network that can see, feel, hear, smell, speak, and autonomously cooperate.
What are the challenges you see with storing this amount of data? This is amazing. Everybody needs to have one. But with the, energy crisis on the horizon, the data that needs to be stored, data centers that need to be used to be able to keep these things going, do you see any challenges there, like with our critical infrastructure being able to?
Thank you for the question. So let's talk about the data itself. I think one of the things, just to calm everyone's nerves, the data is owned by our clients, not by Knightscope. 30 days of data stay on the machine, and it only goes up to the cloud if the client asks for a license plate, for example. Then it'll go -8 minutes, +8 minutes up to the cloud, and that gets stored there. But we use that data to possibly train with our client's permission, but we're not aggregating, tons of data. And then every 30 days, the data gets overwritten. So no different than some of the physical
Do you
security
see any
cameras.
value in aggregating some of the data to pick up on maybe trends or of certain crimes or criminals? You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be some utility in having some of that data, right?
So this might get me in trouble.
Okay, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, so don't say anything.
No, I'm going to say it. It's embarrassing for the FBI, the largest law enforcement agency, the most prominent, to have to go onto social media and say, have you seen this guy? Like, we're the U.S., we're in the United States of America. This should not be the case that the FBI can provide an API to all the 10 most wanted criminals and we can't find them.
So can this robot connect to some of our databases where people
So
are-
yes, so for
like
example,
match faces with,
yes.
okay.
Yeah. So we could use this with
To
the
identify the
TSA,
person.
we can use it with CBP, with the Pentagon, et cetera. Yes.
Do you think this should be on the border?
Yes, and we're about to get to that.
Okay.
So in order for this data that you expressed interest in to be prioritized, we partner with Verizon Frontline, so it gets the same priority as a first responder, because obviously that data is extremely important. We last week announced our partnership with Palantir. As I mentioned, we had a FedRAMP medium authority to operate. Our partnership with Palantir will then uprate that to FedRAMP High and DoD Impact Level 5. So that would allow us to scale throughout the federal
What's the
government.
resolution of the camera on the?
1080p, high definition. We can change those over time as the technology improves, and I think we're at that intersection of where everything's finally coming together. Battery technology, telecommunications, sensors, and everything to actually enable this to happen. So this one's the 5th generation, just so we've been at it for a while. And the next 10 years are going to be profoundly interesting.
Well, with your growth, do you see supply chain challenges with some of the, like either the chips or the cameras and being able to fulfill that demand potentially?
We're Buy American Act compliant, so
Okay.
we manufacture these ourselves. There's always challenges. I think if we get to some serious volumes, there's some grave concern, which I'm going to express to you here in a moment.
Okay.
But to your question on the border, so this is a sneak peek for the subcommittee. We'll be starting production of the K7 autonomous security robot next year. This is the size of a small car, so maybe 4 or 5 of those in terms of just overall size, go up to 10 miles an hour to be able to handle much slightly more difficult terrain. So for example, on the border, solar farm, wind farm, critical infrastructure, our military bases need to be hardened. There's a ton of opportunities for this kind of technology to basically promote the officer and guard to do work that they should be doing, which is enforcement, decision-making, and not routine, rolling around a warehouse or parking lot. So where could these be used? Basically everywhere. You look at the GSA with nearly 10,000 federal buildings and the Federal Protective Services with 13,000 officers and guards attempting to secure those buildings with technology from the 1970s is just not appropriate. I think everyone knows that thousands of foreign nationals try to get onto military bases every year, and we really need to harden those bases, especially where there's munitions, and then CBP, as we discussed. But every one of these agencies and departments have a massive campus, have warehouses, have parking lots, have parking structures, all of which are inefficiently being managed today. So we've estimated that if we were to just use the technology that's commercially available, we could save the government nearly $10 billion annually by automating these processes. So my biggest concern on AI is that we're going too slow. The technology, we're making tremendous strides, but the actual deployment throughout society and throughout the government is abysmal. And we are falling behind, and this is dangerous territory to be falling behind on. So I have a small ask. If we can simply put some language similar to what's on the screen right now, to have the maintenance, operations, and support budgets of each department and agency set aside 1% for autonomous systems, for automation, for robotics, and have the federal government be that catalyst to drive the innovation throughout the government. This is to reduce costs, not to spend more. But having now spent half a decade trying to get the federal government to change its ways, large organizations don't want to change and humans don't want to change. So a minor mandate like this would likely be in order to even address some of the supply chain issues you raised.
What's the relative cost of the robot versus the vehicle? Like what does it cost to make one? Are you allowed to say?
Sure. So that one's about $11 an hour. So it's
Cost to
running
make it.
24/7.
Or to buy it, maybe,
yeah.
not to make it, but what would it cost someone to buy that?
So it's running 24/7, so it's 4 people. In order to do 4 people, you're typically would have about $96,000 a year. And we handle all the software, service, decals, training, transport, everything's all included, and we remotely monitor on behalf of the
So it's
client.
hardware as a service, basically?
Machine as a service. Everything's included as a full subscription, because the federal department doesn't want to go federal government doesn't want to go set up, routine maintenance and service divisions for robots. And the technology changes, every few weeks. We're adding and upgrading, so it's best that we kind of manage that for our clients. And so it costs us about $60,000 to build one. And then there's all the routine maintenance and service, cloud costs, telecom costs, et cetera.
If you, being able to scale those prices, hard costs will go down. Mr. McGuire?
I agree, it's pretty bad that we have to use social media to say, hey, have you seen this guy using AI or robots like this? Is there any other country in the world using AI for policing or any type of thing that you've seen?
Singapore, the government of Singapore has asked me to relocate there at least 15 times. China is an unbelievable amount of data for them to be able to actually use this. And I've had some analysts come to me and say, this is exactly the type of surveillance that puts people on edge. And my response when we started the company in 2013 is my same response now. You know what puts people on edge? Getting shot at. I don't think the founders of our country ever expected us to build a society where going to work, going to school, or going to a movie theater literally came with the risk of being shot or killed. That's just not acceptable.
I assume China's probably already doing it.
Yes. We are
They're
behind.
the kings of surveillance.
Right.
Yeah.
So to end this on a more positive note, what if we were to make the United States of America the safest country in the world? Talk to me about the impact on municipal budgets. What about insurance rates? Property values. What happens to property values? What about the investment coming into the country? What about the viability of someone's local business, the safety of your family? We would literally change everything for everyone. And that's why my team and I have committed over a decade to force this to happen. And in that spirit, Knightscope's building an autonomous security force to be able to achieve that mission of making the United States of America the safest country in the world.
Are
It's
you going to do drones, or is it all going to be on ground?
Everything. Anything and everything that's going to stop anyone from harming an American citizen. This is innovation born in America to protect America. And I thank you for your time.
Do you want to, can it go around the room? Do you want to do a little, let's see that 3 miles per hour.
So we've been patrolling corporate campuses, parking structures, a lot of hospitals.
Have you been able to track statistically the data, like the reduced number of incidences or crimes
Yes.
in those areas?
So commercial real estate owner, 10 stolen cars a month. Put the robot there, now 0. Our longest serving client is coming up on 9 years. It's a hospital. They brought us in because assault, theft, stolen car, twice a week. And it got so bad that the guard was like, you can fire me, I'm not going out there.
We need these in DC.
Yep.
I mean, quite frankly.
Yep.
All the cars.
And now we put the machine there, and all of it stopped.
What was that at?
San Bernardino, California.
And does it only gather intel?
So this is intended to deter, detect, and report, very similar to a security guard. So a guard is only to observe and report. They are not to put their hands on you, and I think in 17 states it's illegal for a guard to put their hands on you. This is to give tools for the officers and guards to actually be able to do their jobs effectively,
And it's deterrence.
and it's
You
deterrence.
can't be everywhere.
A human cannot be everywhere. How we can have, a 100-acre munition site with 4 guards is beyond me.
How many of these would you need on 100 acres?
Typically, Daniel, help me out here, about 5 acres. It depends on the location. If you're in an urban environment, it's very different than if you're in a rural one. But maybe every 200,000 square feet, probably.
Yeah, roughly. I'd say 1 robot per half acre, I'd say. Pretty good. 400.
So there's going to be millions of robots throughout society. I don't think society and the government understand what's about to happen over the next few years. And I genuinely appreciate the opportunity to at least brief you on the state of the art.
Anyone who have any other questions? Before we move on to the next
I
one?
had a quick one.
Yes, sir.
So what's the difference between that and having like lots of cameras everywhere? You mentioned the 360
Yep.
camera, but I know we have that too.
So I'll assert that the public safety infrastructure is broken because there are 85 million cameras in the U.S., 300,000 cop cars, and 1 million law enforcement professionals, about 1.5 million security guards. It's not working. So we rarely compete against cameras. Cameras are very good for forensics after the fact. They're not going to deter
That's if the camera's working.
if the camera's working. And piping and putting those in place can be very expensive because you got to power them, you got to monitor them, all that good stuff. For me, we're looking for a full-on solution, is why we're wanting to build an autonomous security force. So the combination, if I come back and see you in a few years, it's robots, it's drones, it's cameras, it's human guards equipped with technology, it's more and more AI. The idea here is not to just kind of sell robots. We need to fix the problem. And if, a rubber band and a paper clip would fix the problem, like we're going to go build rubber bands and paper clips. But we spend so much money outside of our borders to protect this country, and we are wildly underinvested on our own soil, and it's an embarrassment.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Paca, you want Fiddler AI?
Just before we move on, would you mind having it say something just to demo that part of
Oh,
the?
it talks.
Yep.
Does it talk?
In any language you like.
Of course it does.
And it can make announcements based on a detection.
Innovation in AI means safer streets, smarter responses, and stronger partnerships with public agencies. I am fully autonomous and designed to deter threats, enhance safety, and operate ethically under human oversight.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.